about the basic concept of electricity. What is electricity? What is important in a potential difference? Concept like potential difference. Let us move to the today's topic, and that is let us start with the part of the topic energy transfers in an electric current. That is, we are going to learn now Joules law. So what is Joules law? In the today's topic, we are going to learn what is exactly Joules law. So let us move to the concept of Joules law. Now, to understand the better concept of the Joules law, look at the circuit diagram shown here. In this diagram, you can see a cell is connected, a positive terminal, a negative terminal, and as we know that the direction of current is from negative terminal to the positive terminal of the battery. So this is the way of flow of current. So current will flow from negative terminal to the positive terminal, then it will come in this direction, that is shown in this diagram, and this is known as plug key, where this plug key is closed, indicate that the permission is allowed to flow the current. Now from here, the current will come here, and this is the point A and point B. These are the two terminals. We connected the voltmeter, and always we note that important thing, whenever we connect the voltmeter is always across the resistance. But remember that the voltmeter is always connected across the resistance or in between the resistance, and ammeter is always connected in the series. So that we can see in this circuit diagram, the voltmeter is connected to the resistance, that is across, and ammeter is connected in the series. Now in this diagram, we are trying to show that how the Joule prove that when the current is passed through the conductor, the heat is produced, and how we derive that relation. The heat is produced is directly proportional to the resistance, then the time period and the current. That derivation we are going to prove using the Ohm's law and the next part of that. So as you see in the diagram, say charge Q is flow from point A to B. So why the charge is flow from the point A to B? Because when we connect a battery contains charge. So now this charge, say Q, is flowing through the conductor. Now it will come here, and we know that the formula I is equal to Q upon T. This is the formula of current. Then V is equal to W upon Q, and R is equal to V upon I. So using these three relations, we are going to prove a Joules law. Now let us come to understand the concept of Joules law. If the V is the potential difference connected between the two terminals, that is across the resistance, then the charge will move from the point A to the point B. And when it will move from point A to the point B, then work done is given by the formula V is equal to W upon Q. So this is, say, V is given to you, that is W upon Q. That is the potential difference in the circuit. P is the electrical power, and we know that the formula of the power is P is equal to W upon T, because power is equal to work done upon time. So now at present we have two formulas. P is equal to W upon Q and P is equal to W upon T. P is equal to, now if you substitute the formula there, say P is equal to W upon Q and power is equal to work upon time, or rate of change of work is called as the power. So from this formula, we can able to write, if V is equal to W upon Q, then we can write V into Q is equal to W. So this W can be replaced by V into Q upon T. So we got another relation for the power is V is equal to Q upon T. But we also know that I is equal to Q upon T, that is the current. And if you substitute in the formula, we get P is equal to V upon I. P is equal to V Q upon T, and if you substitute the values, the power in terms of heat, we get H is equal to VIT, and by Ohm's law, if you substitute V is equal to IR, that is equation number 3, we get H is equal to V square T upon R, and the formula is become H is equal to I into I R multiplied by T. We get H is equal to I square into R. So this is what we call as the Joules law, where H stands for the heat generated. And in exam, they'll ask the question related to you that what is the formula of Joules law? The formula of Joules law, H is equal to I square RT. So where H is equal to I square RT, this is the formula of the Joules law, where H is called as the heat, R is called as the resistance in the circuit, and T is the time period, where I is the current. So it's clearly indicate that the current is responsible for the heat is generated. And from that we can use many applications in the electric current. So basically in the chapter number 3 of electric current, the unit of electrical current or power of unity electrical power is P is equal to V into I, and the potential difference is calculated in the volt and the current in the ampere, which can be denoted by 1 joule per 1 second into 1 coulomb upon 1 second, and 1 joule upon 1 second is equal to 1 watt, and therefore electrical power, unit of electrical power is watt. That is what we called as 1 watt. Now, what type of questions are going to be asked in the exam point of view? Before that, we have to learn the heating effect of the current. What the Ohm's Joule says that when the resistor connected in electric circuit, the heat is produced, and this heat is due to the current, and hence it is called as the heating effect of the electric current. So how you get more and more amount of heat? Example, the water boiler, electric oven, electric cooker, electric bulb, these all devices are work on the principle of heating effect of electric current. So in many times the question is asked that give an example or application of heating effect of electric current, and the answer will be the water boiler, electric oven, electric cooker, and electric bulb. Now, why the heat is more is there in this case? If you want to generate more amount of heat, then it is directly proportional to is the resistivity. More is the resistance, more is the heat will be generated, and that's why in electric cooker the nichrome coil is used, and in bulb we use the tungsten. Now, in an electric bulb, tungsten is used because when you pass the current through the bulb, the current is converted into light energy, and light heat energy, and heat energy into the light energy. So if you continuously on the bulb, the temperature will become more, and if we use a normal filament instead of tungsten, then it is the chances of get melt and we won't get the light from that bulb. The advantage of a tungsten is that it has a melting point is very high, and that is 3400 degrees centigrade. And if you make this filament more hotter and hotter, you get more and more amount of light, and that's why in a electric bulb tungsten wire is used. So see, whenever going to appear or when you are learning this topic, as we are a student of SSC, the question should be always remember type of questions, many times it is asked. In our textbook, the concept is given about called as unit of electrical power, and why the unit of electrical power is 3.6 into 10 raised to 6 joule. So let us understand this concept of unit of electrical power. So we know that just we learned in the previous slide that the unit of electrical power is a watt, but 1 watt is a very small unit, but 1000 watt, and this 1000 watt is also called as 1 kilowatt. So commercial unit of electrical power is always measured in kilowatt. But we know that we use the appliances for continuously, and therefore the power is calculated in terms of how much power is used in how much amount of time. So let us calculate if we use 1 kilowatt of any device for 1 hour, then how much energy is consumed? So let us move to the answer of this question. So power is equal to work upon time. So we required the power should be 1 kilowatt. So 1 kilowatt means it is going to be 1000 say watt. 1 kilowatt is equal to 1000 watt. And if you consume this power 1 kilowatt for 1 hour, then it is going to be 1 kilowatt hour. So we can convert 1 kilowatt is equal to 1000 watt and into say 1 hour. This 1000 watt, we want to convert the time period that is in CGS system, that is into 1 hour is equal to say 60 minutes. And again, this 1000 watt into, if you convert minute into seconds, then you have to multiply 60 multiply by say 60 seconds. So total multiplication will be now 1000 60 into 60. So this will become 1000 watt multiply by 60 into 60, 3000 say 600 seconds. And total multiplication will be 3600 multiply by say 1000. Now when we have to write in physics unit in terms of say exponential factor of 10, then it should be decimal after 10 place. So this is say 36,000 or 3600, can make it, this is 10 cube. Now what I will do here, I want to put decimal at this place, then this is 3600 and we have to give decimal place after 1, 2, 3. So we'll divide by 10 raised to 3 and multiply by 10 raised to 3, and originally power is we have 10 raised to 3. So when we write this 3010 raised to 3, it will become 3.6 and this 10 raised to 3 into 10 raised to 3 become 10 raised to 6, and your final answer, that is 1000 watt into 1 hour, is equal to 3.6 into 10 raised to 6 joule. So in many times in exam the question is going to be asked, what is the value of 1 kilowatt per hour? The value of 1 kilowatt per hour in terms of joule is 3.6 into 10 raised to 6 joule. So this is the relation between the power and the joule. So what type of questions may be asked in the exam point of view? For your purpose, on the left hand side, I kept the passage as it is. So when you study this type of passages or the text matter in the textbook, so always remember that these type of questions are going to, what are the possible questions are going to be asked? Look at the question number 1. What is the unit of electrical power? So answer is watt. Convert 3000 watt into the kilowatt. So this is, answer will be 3 kilowatt. So when we are looking at any textual matter, try to read between the lines. Don't just read the lines, because when we just read the lines, we are not able to answer the question. So try to understand the concept very well. And the third question is, what is the value of 1 kilowatt per hour? And that is 3.6. So possible question from this passage is these three questions, and the probable answer of that question is also given to you. The more question can be also asked that convert 1 kilowatt hour into the 1 hour into the joule. Then this is also a given calculation, just I show to you. That calculation we can show, and we get this final answer, that is 3.6 into 10 raised to 6 joule. So though it look passage is very small, but many times of variety of questions are going to be asked. Now we're coming to the next part of the application of Joules law, the home electrical connection. Now when we see a home electrical connection, what things you should know related to the electric current which is connected to our house. Our house, we are using 2-pin plug, sometimes 3-pin plugs are also we are using. So what is the meaning of that when we are using 2-pin plug, 3-pin plug? 2-pin plug, we are using basically the mobile charger and devices which have a small potential difference. But when we use electrical iron, say fridge or say AC, we use 3 plug pin. So what is mean by 3 plug pin and 2 plug pin? Basically, when we use 3 plug pin, it contains one live wire, one neutral wire, and other is called earth wire. And the standard colored are also going to be used for that wire. Live wire is basically red in colored, neutral wire is black in colored, and earth wire is considered to be or assumed to be a green color. So these norms has to be followed, but sometimes it is not followed, but these are the standard norms. Live wire should be always red color, neutral wire should be black color, and earthing wire should be green color. The one more interesting thing about the house is that potential difference in our house is 220 volt, and the current capacity, that is the 4 ampere. This is our household current is. Now we are always see that there is incident happens related to the short circuit and fuse wire. So let us move that what is mean by the short circuit and what is mean by say the fuse wire. So suppose this is we have a say standard electrical circuit, and this is say bulb, it's connected to the circuit. So this is positive terminal and this is a negative terminal, and the current will flow from negative terminal to the positive. So this is the flow of say direction of current. This is the actual path of the current. But instead of current flowing in this direction, it flow in the shortcut direction because of say this is the actual path. So current should flow in this direction. But instead of this, it directly come in this direction. It uses a shortcut path, and it is called as short circuit. Now short circuit causes between when we have say live wire, its contact with the neutral wire, and when the live wire contact with the neutral wire, it related to the spark, and this spark give rise to a short circuit. Then in this situation, what we can do or what we can do to avoid such type of thing, then the option is we have to use a fuse wire. So what are the fuse wire and what are the advantages of the fuse wire? Now let us see about the part of the fuse wire and what we are going to see in the fuse wire. Now in case of the fuse wire, when we are going to use the fuse wire, let us see what is actually fuse is. Fuse is basically made up of a small alloy. Fuse is basically made up of a small alloy is known as Sn and Pb. So Sn is called as tin and Pb is called as a lead. So the question comes, what is fuse? Fuse is a alloy made up of tin and lead. So why tin and lead? Because it has a low melting point. It has a low melting point. Now why the fuse is have a low melting point, or when we use the fuse with the low melting point? So as we learn here in the diagram or a Joules law, when the current is passed through the circuit, the heat is produced. And due to the short circuit, if the current is passed through the circuit more than the permissible value, it causes the fire. So to avoid the short circuit, we should control the pause of, or to control the current more than the permissible value. So by default, suppose the current passes more than the permissible value, more is the current, then we know that the Joules law, H is equal to I square RT. It means what? More the current is passed, more the heat is going to be generated, or more the heat will be released. So by default, or by suppose due to any means, due to the short circuit, if the current is passed more than the permissible value, then the more heat will be generated, and as a result, it is made up of the low melting point. It will melt, and when it will melt, the circuit will be get break, and if the circuit will be get break, then there will be avoid the loss of damages of the electrical appliances as well as the short circuit. And if the short circuit take place, that the further appliances which is connected in the series or in the next houses also can be controlled, and therefore fuse is very, very important. So what type of questions may be going to be asked, exam point related to you in terms of fuse? So for the fuse, the question will become like this. This is the passage given in our textbook. So many times the questions are going to be asked. Read the passage carefully and answer the following question. So we'll just go through this passage and what are the possible questions may be asked. This is purposely shown to you because when we read any text, so we just reading it, don't read it. Just try to understand the concept, and whenever the questions asked based on the passage, that what are the skill you have to apply. So let us see how to answer the question from the passage if such passage is given to us. Now we can see here some important words are there. The home electrical appliances of live wire, neutral wire, earth wire. So I will underline these three words. Live wire, neutral wires have a potential difference to 20 volt, and due to the fault of equipment, if there is a plastic coating of say live wire and neutral wires is get removed and wire become naked, and live wire comes in contact with the neutral wire, then the large amount of current can flow through it, and there may be inflammable material comes in contact, such as say cloth and plastic exist around it, then the possibility of the catching the fire, and therefore to avoid such situation we have to use the fuse. So fuse will control the one type of damages. So therefore fuse is very, very important in electrical circuit. So let us see that what type of questions are going to be asked related to this type of passage. Name the types of wire used in electrical circuit. So as we underline the passage, so whenever the questions are going to be asked based on the passage, first read the question and then the passage. What the students are doing, they are first reading the passage and then reading the question. It's the best way to read the question and then read the passage, because when you read the question, you can focus which topic you have to answer, which concept you have to answer. So it becomes more focused, because when you read the passage and then we are going to the question, it doesn't get an idea what type of questions, and again you are going to back and back again and again you have to read the passage. So avoid and the confusion, just first read the question and then coming to the passage. So as I told you that the name of the types of wire used in electrical circuit are the three types of wire we are using: live wire, neutral wire, and the earthing wire. What is meant by short circuit? So when a live wire touches the neutral wire, causes a huge heat, creates a spark and catches the fire, is called short circuit. So many times what happens, students are under the impression, especially in the science paragraph, they are trying to write the answer what the content given in the passage. See, the question asked those based on the passage. It is not just like a language skill testing. Here we are testing your scientific skill. So whenever we are answering the question based on the passage of the science, focus on scientific concept and scientific answers, then you will get a better marks for that. So there is always difference between the passage from the science point of view and any other language. So short circuit definition is not mentioned, but some points and clues are mentioned in the passage. So we have to recall such things, what we learn in the lower classes, what given in the passage, and according to that, you have to write the answer. So what is meant by the short circuit? When the live wire touches neutral wire, causes huge heat, and due to that, it catches fire. That is the definition of the short circuit. Now the next question maybe on the passage is, what is the potential difference between the two wires? So two wires, maybe the neutral wires, maybe the earthing wires, and the answer is 220 volt. What is fuse and what are its uses? As I told you that a fuse is electrical device connected in electric circuit, and you have to remember that fuse is always connected in the series and ammeter is also connected in the series. So why the fuse is connected in the series? Because when you connected in the series, when the current is passed from the more than the permissible value, then due to the heat, it melt and it avoid the damages to the appliances, and therefore it is connected in the series. So what is the use of that? It has a low melting point, and if the more current is passed than the permissible value, then it get melt and the damages can be stopped. It is made up of the alloy called SN and PB, and as per the use or as per the current we have, the fuses also have a different types. 2 ampere, 3 ampere, and 4 ampere are the different types of fuse are there. Now there is another passage in the textbook, and we are trying to show that when we read the passage based question, then how to answer or how to deal with this type of questions. So just go through it. Many times, particularly in the summer season, huge electrical power is used in the evening due to the home lighting fans, because we know that due to the more heat, the air conditioners, the fans, this amount of energy utilizes more. And in such case, if more load comes on that particular unit, then there is a may chance of cause of fire, and even may get that in the summer we get more light bill. The bill amount of the light bill is become more when we use in the summer. So why in the summer the electrical energy power is more? Because here the temperature is more and we have to keep our body in the homeostatic condition. Homeostatic condition means what? we have to maintain our body temperature between the range of 36.5 degrees centigrade. But in case of say summer, it is not possible, and we try to maintain our body temperature range in the range of that. And this is possible when we switch on the fan, or a fan is continuing on and the AC is on, and therefore we get more bill. Our body needs to maintain temperature. We use fans, water, coolers, air conditioner, and we use more in summer as other session. Hence, the bill causes more. So we have to try to correlate these things. Another question will becomes here, though it are only 5 lines, but we can frame a lot of questions on that. So coming to the next question, what is meant by overloading? So overloading means what? As we see that in summer session or summertime, the demand of electricity is more, and demand of electricity is increases, and which causes more utilization of electrical power, and capacity of transfer of each area of supply is limited. And if demand is more, if more electrical power is start consuming, causes loading on the transformer, and the transformer may get damaged or not sufficiently, and this is what we call as overloading. And due to the overloading, the fuse wire is getting melted. Now, another type of question may be asked based on this in exam, a diagrammatical based questions. So on the left hand side, you can see a different types of fuse. This is a fuse, this is fuse, all these are the diagrams of the fuse. You can see this type of fuse which is shown in this diagram, we are using in the olden times. Now this type of fuse is now replaced by the modern types of fuses. These all fuses has a shape and size is different, but the function is one and same. That is, if the more than the permissible amount of current is passed through the electrical circuit, to avoid this, the fuse we are going to be used. So what type of questions may are going to be asked in the exam point of view related to it? What is shown in the figure? Identify the devices. So in a figure, we can see fuse of a different types and for the different purposes. What is the function of this fuse? The function of the fuse is not allowed the more current than the permissible value. And the third question, on which principle this device works? So as I explained in the previous part also, when the more amount of current is passed through the circuit, the more is the current, more is the heat is going to be generated, and that is the Joules law. So answer of this question, it is a Joules law. So what the Joules says, by the formula H is equal to I square RT, more the current is passed through the conductor, more the heat will be generated. So these type of questions are may going to be asked. This is the another diagram from the textbook. We call these as MCBs. So MCB, what type of questions can be asked on this? Observe and answer the question. See, in our textbook, do you know, always remember, these type of questions are also going to be asked. Students are requested not only go only for the textual questions, but you have to answer all these questions, try to understand the concept very well. And once you understood the concept, you can answer any type of question. Now here in the diagram, you can see there is these all different varieties of MCBs. So what is an MCB? It is a miniature circuit breaker, abbreviated as MCB. And what is the function of MCB, or what is the principle of MCB? When the current in the circuit suddenly increases, switch opens and current stops. So many times students not able to recall what are the principle in the given paragraph or in given statement. So see here, this is the actually principle of MCB. What the principle of MCB? When the current in the circuit suddenly increases, the switch open and current stop. This is the principle of MCB. And there are different types of MCB. You can see the single are there, double are there, triple there, and four more than. So this is the alternative for the fuse wire. This is one type of fuse wire itself. Now, when a more than the permissible value of current is passed, the trigger will come down, and the circuit will get break and the current stop. So here we can up the trigger, and again the circuit can be start. So what type of questions may be asked or going to be asked on the topic? What is MCB? Miniature circuit breaker. What is the use of it? The use is same. That is the principle what I explained to you. That is the use of it, and avoid damages to the electrical circuit. Now, in the next episode, we are going to learn the next topic of heating effect of electrical circuit and some of the numericals. So till now we'll stop here and wait for the next